So you're leaving in the morning on the early train. Well, I could say everything's alright, and I could pretend, say goodbye. Got your ticket, got your suitcase, got your leaving smile. Oh, I could say that's the way it goes, and I could pretend you won't know that I was lying.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, colleagues who are joining us here in Ghana, and a good day to colleagues who are joining us from around the world online. You are welcome to the third in the series for the RSD program, a renowned scholars dialogue by the Young Researchers Forum. This program started in 2022, and it's an annual event, happens one time every year, and this is our third in the series. In this dialogue, we invite renowned scholars to talk to us about how it is they've gone from the bottom to the top on the academic journey. And then not only that, they would also share with us how it is they have turned some of their research ideas into startups and then also grown them into full businesses. Today, we have one such person who fits the bill so perfectly to talk to us. And before we go any further, I'd like to invite Professor Atuandam Akofo to give us the opening prayer.
Shall we be upstanding as we pray? Dear Lord, we are grateful to you once again for the gift of life. We are grateful to you as young researchers. We pray, oh God, that you preside over our meeting, and may all the aspirations and the purpose of this meeting be met in the life of this university and everyone present. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much. So I may not have mentioned it, but this is a program that is organized by the Young Researchers Forum. And the lead of the Young Researchers Forum is Professor Marian Asantuan Kansa. I call her Man. Okay. Well, let's put our hands together and invite her to give us the opening address.
Thank you very much, Prof. Ikuaji, for the kind introduction. Prof. Philip Ncheje, the Director of the Office of Grants and Research, which the Young Researchers Forum works under, and currently representative of the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Rita Akosua-Dickson. Provosts and directors here present either in person or online. We have Prof. Monday Moses representing the Provost of the College of Health Sciences. We have Prof. Atu Akofo representing the Dean of the Office of the Quality Assurance and Planning. Our friends joining us online both via Zoom and YouTube, members of the leadership of the Young Researchers Forum here in present and online and elsewhere, members of the university community, our distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. A little over 3 years ago, the Vice-Chancellor of the university, as part of her strategic goals for the university, had a theme which was hinged on research citizenship. And through that theme, the Young Researchers Forum was birthed. And coincidentally, the first lead of the Young Researchers Forum is joining us online, wearing two hats as the director of the OGR and also the representative of the Vice-Chancellor. And I took after as the second lead of the Young Researchers Forum. So we come full circle today as we gathered to go through the third edition of the Renowned Scholars Dialogue. As our moderator has already established, the dialogue brings to us distinguished, outstanding scientists, researchers, innovators to share with us their nuggets and how they have achieved what they have achieved. And the purpose is that the younger faculty in particular and the entire university at large and our friends and associates elsewhere in the world will learn from these experiences and adopt them to our own lives as we try to find solutions to the myriad problems in the world. If I should give a little background, the first edition was held on the 3rd of March, 2022, where we hosted Sir Richard Roberts, the 1993 Nobel Prize winner, and he shared with us the path to the Nobel Prize. It was such an exciting interaction in this same venue at the IDL Conference Center, where we are back again for the 3rd edition. And this was followed by the 2nd edition last year, which was held on the 20th of April. The host, or the presenter, the speaker, was Prof. Samuel Lai, head of the School of Construction, Economics and Management of Wits University in South Africa, and an alumnus of this university, a former SRC president. And he shared with us being a global research citizen. And that also brought home to us and with a lot of relatable examples, especially since he happened to be a son of the soil. Today, we are blessed again with one son of the soil, not of the KNUST soil, but of the Ghanaian soil, in the person of Mr. Deridin Datsi, the CEO of Heritage Labs Limited, a friend, a friend of mine who I have struggled so much to get to come. Derry, I'm happy you have made it today. And he's going to share with us research entrepreneurship, pursuing innovation markets, and value chain. I have no doubt that today is also going to be an exciting interaction as we've had the past 2 editions. And therefore, I stand on my own behalf and on behalf of the leadership of the Young Researchers Forum and the leadership of KNUST as well, to welcome you all to this 3rd edition and wish you all well as we have this interaction. Thank you.
Thank you. And forgive me, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Professor Edmond Kwaji. I'm with the Department of Pharmacognosy in the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Sciences. And I'll be your moderator for today's event. So, our chairperson, and I should note that it's both a face-to-face program plus online, and our chairperson is joining us online. Our chairperson is Prof. Philip Ntrieje. He's a professor of climate change, adaptation, and sustainability sciences. He started off his academic journey with a BSc degree here at KNUST. From there, he went to the UK to do a master's at the University of Hull. And then he continued on to do a PhD with the University of Leeds. He came back home, as most good people do, and has been teaching here at KNUST for a number of years. He's a true academic, and when I say he's a true academic,
Recording in progress.
He has done a lot of teaching, not only that, but also done a lot of research. And a lot of his research has been supported by a lot of funding that he has received from granting agencies. He's also been of good service to the university, held several positions, and currently he's the director of the KNUST of Research. Colleagues, our chairperson, Professor Philip Ntrieje. Professor Philip Ntrieje, your audience. Thank you.
And thank you very much. I think we lost most of the
those of us online. I don't know whether you were muted at some point, but whatever it is, that is fine. So, sorry, I'm joining virtually because I'm not in Ghana presently. Let me stand on the existing protocols that have been laid by the chair for the Young Researchers Forum, Professor Mariana Santua in Cancer. It is with a profound sense of pride and gratitude and excitement, that I represent the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rita Kosua-Dixon, at the third edition of the renowned Scholars Dialogue by the Young Researchers Forum of the Office of Grants and Research. The Vice Chancellor would have loved to attend this meeting, but she's engaged at an equally important meeting or summit. She therefore extends her sincere greetings and wish us fruitful deliberations this afternoon. As a research-intensive university and a member of the African Research Universities Alliance, AROA, NUCS seeks to advance knowledge in science and technology through creating an environment for undertaking relevant and impactful research that improves the quality of life. As a university, ladies and gentlemen, we take pride, huge pride for that matter, in the innovative research being conducted by our faculty and postgraduate students. I am extremely delighted that the Young Researchers Forum continues to roll out programs and activities that prioritize the development of skills in grantsmanship, research communication, and innovations. The university continues to also support the Office of Grants and Research to champion research and innovations by making sure our intellectual property rights are safeguarded. To this end, through the intellectual property unit of the Office of Grants and Research, we have established various frameworks and policies that promote innovation and safeguard the university interest when it comes to innovations. Colleagues, we all agree that as established faculty and early career researchers, we need to begin to look at how or ways by which we can be innovative in the way we conduct our research. Because it is only then that we'll be able to market the end product that we derive from our various research endeavors. The third edition of the renowned Scholars Dialogue this afternoon on research entrepreneurship promises to be an exciting presentation. I've read through the abstract, and I'm highly optimistic that our renowned scholar, our dear Deridin Daisy, will do justice to the topic. I therefore entreat all of us to be attentive, take notes, and then ask the necessary questions when the time comes for us to ask questions. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all and wholeheartedly accept to chair this important function this afternoon. Thank you, and God richly bless us all.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nchieje. We are happy that you are happy to accept to be chair. I would like to invite Professor Mrs. Osei introduce speaker for today's dialogue. Let's put.
Thank you, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocols and as I extend warm welcome to you all. It is my pleasure this afternoon to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Deridin Dadsey. Mr. Dadsey is a proud Ashesi alumni, and he's a powerhouse in African technology, renowned for his expertise in fintech, policy, digital transformation, and research commercialization. With over 15 years of experience, he co founded Dream Oval right out of university, helping it expand into a multinational company. As CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Technology, he shaped robust tech markets and policy frameworks that fueled Ghana's tech growth. Mr. Dadzi is also the visionary behind the African Research and Innovation Commercialization Summit, ARICS, driving research from labs to markets across Africa. Currently, he leads Heritage Labs, which is focused on advancing science, technology, innovation, and research, STER, in Africa. Through his leadership, Mr. Dadzi is shaping the continent's future by positioning STER commercialization at the heart of its economic transformation. Today, Derry Dean will be speaking to us on research entrepreneurship, pursuing innovation markets, and value chain. Assist me in welcoming our speaker for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may, or if I'm allowed to start speaking now, and I'm hoping that I can be heard. So if I can be heard, then I would go
Yes,
ahead.
you can be heard.
Awesome, awesome. So I am very pleased to be on this program, to be able to share my thought. As has been introduced, I'm a student of, or my university is Ashesi University, where I read computer science. And I'm very passionate about the topic that we are discussing, and I'm very much involved in the idea of research. So I find it very intriguing, and also I'm very humbled to be given the stage to share my thought around the subject, and also to tell you or open up about where I'm coming from, where I am today, where I'm going, and other potentially tangential element about my life and my thought about the concept of research, innovation, commercialization. On that note, I'd like to also thank Professor Marian and Cancer for making it possible for me to be here. I know that it has been a long journey getting me to be on this program, and I appreciate your patience, and to the entire university for setting this platform up and giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and insight. On that note, I would like to start sharing my screen and delve into my presentation. Thank you. So kindly let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. Right. So today, my presentation is titled Research Entrepreneurship, Pursuing Innovation Markets and Value Chains. I'm hoping to dig deep a bit more further into my background, where I'm coming from, why I do what I'm doing, what took me there, and then share my thought on the research paradigm and how I see it evolve, and what I think institutions can do to manifest the kind of future that responds to tomorrow's needs. So on that note, my first slide said the Dean of Students problem. And I know that a number of you may be wondering, why do you want to start from this angle? Why does it even matter? For me, it was the beginning of my quest for the continuous pursuit of discovery. Why is it so? It was a class problem, and it was driven by a teacher that I believe really cared about us as a student. And this was my first year at Ashesi University, and we're doing a course called Calculus 1. And on that course, we're supposed to solve or figure out how certain mathematical concepts apply to in real life. and we're coming from a perspective of certain known carriers. So the teacher comes to class, has papers in a jar or a hat. If I'm forgetting which the where the papers were, and we were broken into groups, and each group had to pick a paper. And when you pick a paper, whatever you see on it, you have to figure out or bring out, come up with what how math or how certain calculus concept is applied in those career fields. Lo and behold, I went to pick from my group, and what I picked Dean of Students. And the question you ask yourself is, why will like Dean of Students in mathematics or math concept or calculus? How does it even apply, right? How does it even apply? And they didn't tell us what to do or how to come up with the answers. But first year student having that subject, I figured, okay, you know what? Spoke to my group and figured instead of just sitting behind my laptop and potentially doing desk research, why don't we as a group go out there and speak to actual dean of students? So gathered some our own resources, and some of us visited certain schools. So I had a chance to go to University of Ghana and then Central University. And at University of Ghana, had a chance to meet unannounced, just barged in there. One professor, Vladimir Intridan. So I don't know whether he remembers, but it was a long time, somewhere in 2003 or something. And I had my questions and asked him questions about how he uses maths in his field of work, or how he uses calculus in his field of work. And we did that also for the Dean of Students at Central University at the time. At the time, they were in Abosuokai, that area, if I'm not mistaken. For me, that assignment, right, was an opening because there was no, they didn't tell us what to do. But I chose and convinced the team to actually let us go out. And we're not supposed to, right? But there was this curiosity inside me that made me want to at least try and meet a real dean of students. And that was the first time I think I conducted a research-led interview of somebody for an assignment. So I'll give my shout out to Professor Ankun, which is of blessed memory. I think he also made us that same Val's Day as National Maths Day at the time. The other one which also involved me conducting research was calculus 2, I think the second year, if I'm not mistaken. And this time around, there was a concept in calculus, I think something to do with, with maximum, the concept of maximum in calculus. So those who do differentiation, integration, all those mathematicians on the call, you might appreciate it. And the question was, how do we apply the concept of maximum in real life? So this 1 year ago, I was looking at Dean of Students and the broad concept of math or calculus. This time around, a year later, I'm looking at the concept, I picked maximum, and we need to figure out how maximum becomes consequential in the scheme of things of life. So that, again, I think that was more an individual project. So everybody was doing an individual project. I don't think it was a group project at the time. And we had some visiting professors, one Tristan Homerick and one person called Sri. They were from industry. I think Sri was working in Microsoft at the time. And they were helping our lecturer or our professor at the time teach that course. So in this paper, you have to come up with your own scenario. So through engagement with Tristan and Sri, came up with the concept of evacuation. That there's a war and you have to evacuate, and you have this limited resource of a plane, a cargo plane, and how many people can you, with like, you can't take a lot more, if you take more people, that means you can't have more fuel. And how long can the plane travel in the air for the plane? So the maximum distance can go for the plane to be refueled to end the journey, because you want to evacuate more people in the war zone. And through my curiosity, sent an email to NASA, and they responded. I was shocked. They responded. They gave me different ideas of how they use um, maximum in their space programs and their air flight programs. And this is a very long time ago, so I don't remember the full details. And Tristan was very was shocked. Everybody, like those lectures helping me were very shocked. They were very happy, and we came out with a formula, and it was several pages. This is the longest math formula I've worked on in my life, from my high school to my university days. I've never worked on any math formula that goes beyond a page. This is like pages. I'm talking about 20 plus pages of formula, right? And for me, that opened my eyes. That in itself started orienting me, putting me in a certain place of curiosity and helping me shatter barriers of finding that, hey, if you really want to find something, just go all out, right? So shout out to Tristan, Homrick, and Sri. I don't know where they are right now. Then there's a third one. There was a time that I wanted to answer a question out of nowhere. I was just there and maybe I was just itching. I just probably was not having many assignments. So I went to see a professor that wanted to conduct a research into the IT field. And I gave her my problem, what the problem that I wanted to find was. And she helped me carve the research question. And the question was, is the Ghana software sector a viable niche industry? I was still a student at the time. And nothing, there was no, I wasn't going to get an A for doing it, but I just wanted to know. So the professor, Princess Awuna Williams of blessed memory against all these great guys are all gone. Helped me with the research question, helped me with the questionnaire, and I got some friends out there. We went out on the field, interviewed over 50 institutions at a time, just to find out their use of IT, what they use IT for, their security, like different questions at a time. And that was my first encounter with a program like SPSS. And I want to give shout out to my friends, Kafuya Adoboy and Malik Afum. I don't know whether they are on. But they were very helpful. They were in other institutions, University of Ghana. I think Malik was in KNUST. They helped me. We went on the field, used some monies I got from some work I did for one guy called Francois Bonin to pay for the transportation and other needs of the people, of like the logistics. And we got good information. That was my first encounter with Fidelity Discount House. And I remember the personalities I met there, because these personalities went on to become this heads of that bank when the Discount House became a bank, when transition became a bank. So over there, I had built some network already through that process. So I wrote a report. It was unsolicited, so the report then remains with me, and I get a lot of insight. So naturally, I'm going to school, but I have a radar view of what the future looks like, especially in a field, because I was doing computer science as well, in a field that I may potentially be pursuing my career in. So what they did for me was that these activities, unbeknownst to me and unintentionally or unintendedly, prepared me for my journey as an entrepreneur. And this is my first business, which I co-founded with Claude. So Claude, Henry, Charles, co-founded Dream Mobile Limited. So that is us now, first office. Some of our team members that you see over there on the screen. At the time, we just had a store, somebody's storefront that we rented through the benevolence of family members and classmates who gave us some seed capital to be able to rent an office and to acquire some of the logistics and the furniture that we needed. So we realized that over there, we didn't have the swivel chairs. You see, we had a plastic chair and we had stuck a board to the wall. So that was our ideal. We were very proud of ourselves. And even at that time, that was in 2007, we had people coming through. So you see me and Claude was holding a paper and talking to me. One guy sitting. This guy was coming from the United States and he was looking to purchase companies. So He was looking to invest now in our just starting startup. I don't know what he has seen, but we had just started, and already he's having a conversation with us about purchasing. Then we have another person, the fourth image. There's another man called Paul Marit. Paul Marit was a CEO of VMware at the time, top company globally, and he's a top guy. So you can Google him up, and you can see us there. So that's me, tired guys sleeping there. So that was our first company. We had an office space, and we're very proud. I didn't have any sense of how the future would look like. We're just happy and proud to do what we are doing right after university. This is what Dreamable became by the time I left the company in 2018. So I saw growth. So from that space to a space that you see right now, or that like I'm showing you on the image right now with number of team members. And if you see the number of team members on the left side, the picture of a lady standing and talking to people, about 90% of the people she's speaking to were from KNUST. So back in the day, for us to recruit developers and interns, we had an internship program, and we'll bring flyers to the school, to the computer engineering and computer science part of the school or the department. And then the students who look at our flyers, looking for interns, will come for interviews at Royal Basin Hotel. I hope that hotel still exists, and maybe I got the name right. And we interviewed them. So in 2 days, 3 days, we'll be there interviewing KNUST students, trying to get developers and interns for our company. And these were the people who became team members. So we get you our second year, we let you work on project with us. It doesn't mean that you have to know the whole world, but you have to have the right attitude. We let you work on project with us, and then we get like 14 people. We keep like 5, and those 5 would support them while they're in school, give them stipends. If they don't have laptops, help them with laptops. And then while they're in school, give them industry-related problems to solve. But those problems were not going to give us any money. And when they are done with school, they start their national service with us, and they go on to work with us. And some of them work with us for the longest. And some of them have now moved on to bigger companies in Microsoft, some in TikTok as I speak. And I'm very proud of the base that Dreamable was able to build that is influencing some of the technologies that we use today across from different parts of the world. So there I saw growth. So in my journey, so counting from my school days, my inquiry into things, the research, the software industry research I did that gave me the insight and the conviction. So my conviction is not some automatic thing that came out of some epiphany. Unbeknownst to me, those things I was doing endowed me with the needed data set to make a decision not to work for anybody or to work the shortest time for somebody. So some of the trades that we make as entrepreneurs may come from a place of insight. And that insight, you might have picked it up without necessarily knowing that you have picked it up based on the activities that you've been performing in your lifetime, either as a student, either as an intern, or either as a active social member of a community pursuing an agenda. So for me, my pursuit as a student and my curiosity led me to the path that I got myself into, to the point of building a company that got onto this stage. So at some point, once we're over 60 people, and that means jobs, that means a certain culture, because I believe that in entrepreneurship, the more people spend a lot of time in the organization, especially for startups, that's where they form some habits. And those habits can go on to influence families. And as they influence families, they go on to influence society. So business is a powerful tool to shape the ethos of society. And that's what we sought to do at Dreamable. And on that journey at Dreamable, we pioneered a lot of solutions because at the time, the data technology wasn't as advanced and it wasn't as easy to utilize or access as we have now. We didn't have as much resources. Internet was very bad. The culture of young entrepreneur wasn't there like that, especially in the technology field. Indians were noted to be more versatile and more knowledgeable in the IT space. So easier to get foreigners doing local, solving local problems than a young startup of 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds entering banks or entering into certain institutions, saying that with conviction that we can solve some of their problems. But notwithstanding, we're able to solve some very big complex problems at the time. So we did Cocoa Link, we did Motec, and these are things that you can Google and find out from there. So Cocoa Link focused on helping cocoa farming become more productive and become more competitive globally. And as much as Ghana was a leading cocoa producing country, followed by Ivory Coast at the time, and that pendulum of change, I mean, the swing of who is the leader at the time, I don't know whether it was Ghana or Cote d'Ivoire, but two of us were either one was first or second. And worked with Hershey's Ghana Cocoa Board to solve that productivity problem. That era as well saw us utilizing QR codes. So back in the day, like around 2014, 11, there about 2011, 12, there about early, like that time, we're already using QR code to solve ticketing problems for Ghana Music Awards, for setting concerts, for setting programs, and providing analytics. And at that time, QR code wasn't a thing. We did slide pay, data payment wasn't a thing, but we went all in, and even there we were doing QR code payment for slide pay. We did work that manifested into paperless port that became a mainstay in some of the things that Ghana does. So we're processing, doing a lot of transactions around port, and still currently do the company Dreamover Now 7 does payment at the Meridian process at the port. So we're solving certain big problems at a time. And these are some of I just posted some of the stuff that we did. So at the time, like when you pick bank statement, we're trying to revolutionize how people saw bank statement. And we were able to sell to banks the concept of advice, where bank statement had analytics, had QR code. And this was a long time ago, right? These technologies were not mainstay. We're doing bot. We had a chance to go to Microsoft, met the top person who was dealing with Skype, and he gave us access to their Skype bots, and we're building solutions at a time when even bots were not present. Now bots are common, but back in the day, we had access to Skype that globally nobody had access to, except if you are developing for a future commercial agenda by Microsoft. So as a small business, we were able to stretch ourselves, and we were able to pursue our entrepreneurial endeavor without fear, trying to solve some of the world's problems. But these things were not just done. In all the things that I spoke about, it includes research. You need to be able to research. In solving problems, you need to do surveys of people and coming out with solutions that fix the port problems, or that enables payment, that enables you to do ticketing, that solves bank transactional processing. You need to do research. You need to be able to understand the needs of customers. You need to do service. While the product is in motion, you need to be is being utilized and is commercially out there. You need to consistently do customer feedback surveys. You need to be able to enter the market and try to understand the needs of the people. There are different kinds of research that
recording in progress.
Then in 2018, I left Dreamover, took a break. Was a time of reflection for me. Traveled to the United States. Did nothing for several months, just praying and reflecting and figuring out what's next for my life. Then sometime late 2018, came back to Ghana and headed the Ghana Chamber of Technology. And during that period, played very instrumental roles in Ghana's fintech ecosystem. So now we have the payment licensing framework, the payment service provider licensing framework that have played a very instrumental role in crafting and drafting. A lot of the elements in there, or what you see today, was during my time as the CEO of the Chamber of Technology, engaging with the governors and the key stakeholders in the ecosystem to come up with industry licensing guidelines that would help advance on the fintech industry. Because before that, there was nothing like it wasn't deterministic enough to know what you really needed and also
Recording in
later on as a
progress.
consultant, supporting different institutions to implement digital transformation or implement financial inclusion strategies and policies. Then my journey and all these things evolve around research. You have to research, you have to engage, do KIs, work with academic researchers. I've worked with some of the researchers on this platform, work with researchers across different institutions in academia and also in the private sector. Then my journey, so spoke about my entrepreneurship journey. Now move from entrepreneurship, and now I'm helping shape policy that advances our innovation economy and our fintech economy. And these things drew a lot. So I think I did well at this job because of my entrepreneurship background, because I had been at the receiving end of policies. So whilst I'm helping and supporting the development policies, I can come in with empathy, I can come in with experience, I can come in with my own true life stories that could potentially reflect a lot of people's experiences as well. So that was very useful for me. That experience from entrepreneurship and bringing it into a very structured field with a formula, with an approach that you need to go through to ensure that your outcome is valid was very useful. So entrepreneurship was very useful on this journey. So some of the works I did on this journey or in my consulting and time was helping STEPI work on the master plan for Ghana Innovation Research Commercialization Center with the aim of helping create a research ecosystem that saw a lot more commercialization of our research outcomes. So there's a government-led approach, a partnership between Ghana, the government of Ghana, the Ministry of Environment and Science and Technology, and the Science and Technology Policy Institute of South Korea. Also, part of Tina worked on the Ghana National Artificial Intelligence Strategy. So still drawing from my experiences in tech, startup environment, and then now policy, and now wearing the policy hat with a view of creating an ecosystem that is sustainable, that could create more innovation economies, and that could help bring solutions to some of Ghana and to a larger extent, Africa's problems. And then one of my proud works is the Ghana Integrated Data Transformation Blueprint that was a response to COVID to ensure that as a country, we will not be in a position where we are not ready for a global eventuality that may slow the rest of the world down, to make us more competitive, to give us a blueprint for digitalization. And this birthed the national data architecture, which is being implemented. So this is something that I worked on during the COVID era, and it involved a lot of research, it involved a lot of stakeholder engagement, it involved a lot of convenings. So all these works is actually research, but being used, the insight being used to shape policy and to design initiatives that affect the very fabric of our nation. And then also during the period as well, done some work on the Ghana Data Innovation Week. So GDIW, that is one of the works I did. So I was the pioneer consultant shaping and defining what it means and how GDIW will look like. So the current GDIW started from me in terms of as a consultant advising GIZ on how it should be organized, how that should be done. Then go into corporate now, using the same research to solve problems around transformation, understanding the needs of people, looking at the state of affairs, which includes surveys, which includes traveling across the country for those institutions and engaging the key stakeholders, and conducting interviews, and sending surveys for them to fill and analyzing them and coming out reports and making recommendations. So a lot of research done. So my work strategically is predicated on inquiry, because for you to be able to come up with any strategy, you need to know what are the underlying issues, what are the underlying yet unseen dimensions that you need to be able to pick up to present as advice or as recommendation to the client. Then, so that has been my journey and how research has shaped it. Then, along the same path, this whole concept, especially working on the Korean project, I realized that there's a lot to be done around the commercialization of research. So my focus started, going there and realized that it's a broad area and there are specifics that has to be dealt with to create the kind of society that adds value to our natural resources within the context of research. So from a research commercialization perspective, I saw the problem as Ghana has so much resources, from the natural ones, the human ones, but how are we leveraging on that strength to present new ideas, new initiatives, new product, new solutions to make us a better community, to make us a better society, to make us a more economically viable society whose people are happy, living great lives, just like how Korea has done it, even though from the beginning they had similar environments, similar situations, such as us, such as Singapore has done it, such as some of the so-called first world, second world countries have done it. Why are we not able to get there? And I realize it's not politics. It is not some of the things that we think that there needs to be for us to advance as a society. These countries have evolved better communities and better societies and better economies as a result of their focus on research and innovation. These guys invest a lot of money. Their investment in research equates our overall GDP as a nation. We can't compete if we don't have a commercialization thinking around the research that we do, or as a country, because that is what is going to unlock thinking commercially. Is what is going to unlock funding, is what is going to unlock new value chains, is what is going to unlock new research ideas and new methods and new models and new regulations. Like everything that we believe that has to happen in our society for the people of our society to thrive can come from a commercialization thinking of research. And that is going to create the dialogue, the conversation, the convenings that can unlock all the things that we seek, especially when it comes to the funding. And I believe that Africa needs research innovation. And I think some of the things I've said would have delved into this slide already, why Africa needs research, innovation, commercialization. Like I said, countries that we love and we love to travel to, do some of the biggest research, from the United States to China, to South Korea, to Germany. Everything that they do, all the beautiful buildings that we see, all the technology that we see is as a result of the research they've done. And because there's a commercialization component to it, there's always an incentive to take research to the finish line, because the end product of commercialization brings good living for people, brings value, solves problems, people pay for it, money goes in the pocket of people. There's a whole new value chain created because of that kind of thinking. Evolving into societies that have aesthetic appeal, that have good laws, that have ease, that when you are there and you want to go out, you know that if you leave home at 9 o'clock, the train comes at 9:05, like everything is so predictable to the point that sometimes their relationship with religion is not as deep as we do with religion. And I believe that's all because of research, innovation, commercialization. So for me, research, innovation, and commercialization is one of the most powerful things that we can do to ourselves if we want to advance our society and if we want to solve some of our bread and butter problems, like a simple thing. Because Ghana, we are not going to space yet. We're not doing some of the big things that people are doing. So for me, at the barest minimum, adding value to our food, to our natural resources, is something that we can just do to bring vitality and create new economies for our people. And then the other thing that, from as an individual and in my commercialization quest, I look at is, I also recognize that, and I might be wrong, that our conversations around research, innovation, commercialization, or research innovation is always within the context of our institutions. And even if we go beyond, probably the community or Ghana as a whole, just the country. But I believe that we need to start having that big scaling up of these initiatives conversation. Our conversation should now go around big visions that some of us will never live to see, and figuring out how we can orchestrate society and the things of this world to enable us meet or achieve our vision, including driving and mobilizing the needed resources for these big visions. So I believe that we need to deepen and expand conversations around research scaling or commercialization scaling, and that will lead us into more collaborative thinking. And at the back of that, I am working with a team on what we call the Innovation Trust Corridor concept. And the Innovation Trust Corridor concept looks at creating a global research enclave that provides a trusted environment and the requisite resources to enable researchers from different parts of the world to co-create innovation and co-create research, to mobilize and share innovation and research resources, and to trade research IP. And why does this matter to me? Because sometimes there's duplicity in the kind of work that we do. So somebody is in Sierra Leone doing bilharzia, for example, research, they're sharing data, they're coming up with solutions. In Ghana, person doing the same thing. Sometimes I've seen professors in some of the institutions who are they're math professors trying to calculate a formula, trying to simulate a certain math equation, and their laptops are simply not enough to be able to calculate some of the simulations or to be able to work on some of the simulation. So they have to leave their laptop there for several hours or days, or they're not able to push beyond their local capacity. Or people simply want to trade. They've done something great and that will be needed in Australia. How do we ensure that the Ghana researchers' work or the innovators' work, whose component is needed for a certain problem in Australia, can be easily seen, and the Australian entity can pick it up at a good fee, and the IP being protected? Having a research trust corridor, innovation trust corridor for me is the answer. So at the back of that, was able to work with some team to mobilize resources to get the evidence first, to see whether that is something that we need. So that's what you see over the research-based evidence to support the formation of a UK-Africa Innovation Trust Corridor. And I named the professors, the researchers over there, including myself. And then the other one is a trajectorial discovery of Ghana's innovation market and value chain map. This to enable us figure out what are the nodes to move research from the labs to market as part of the whole commercialization framework, and provide the necessary toolkit to support researchers and innovators to easily move their research from labs to market. So that is something that I'm also working on as an entrepreneur, as an individual. And this is one of the outcomes of that work. And this is what we came up with as a model for the value chain from that will enable you move research from labs to market. And this value chain is supposed to enable us activate and stimulate innovation economies across the research innovation value chain, so that we won't leave research innovation just to professors and academia and so-called innovative people alone, but we can expand the value chain so that different people with interest and with insight and know-how can come in offering services or offering their knowledge to support and commercialize the research ecosystem. So let's say one of the first notes in the value chain is research intent. So research intent, coming up with your research proposal, coming up with your initial research concept to be able to let you go and raise funding. How does somebody else come in the fray? From a perspective of the innovation market and value chain, what we are saying is that for research intent, you can have people actually specializing in helping researchers, innovators come up with powerful proposals that can attract the needed kind of funding. And that could be somebody's skill. That person may not be a PhD, but that person may have had serious experience in that field and can set up an entity focused on helping researchers shape their research ideas, put them into powerful proposals that can attract the needed resources and funding. So that's research economy being activated right there. Research funding, bringing private capital in there. So now we have a lot of banks funding, not funding research because it's probably very risky for them. We have a lot of financial institutions not really funding new ideas. How do we activate new economies and create specialized funding institutions that can fund research ideas. So that is, for me, is an economy right there. The R&D development. How do people create labs? Can the private sector individual create new labs, create benches, create foundries that researchers can send their researchers to conduct research, and they will make money from just providing the infrastructure for us? That is, and identifying the node in that value chain enables us now stimulate conversations and initiatives that can then transform or create new economies within that node. So that's the whole concept of the innovation market and value chain, trying to create new value propositions, create new innovation market from research intent right up to post-use recycling. So, and it doesn't mean that one person, like let's say a researcher should start from intent and then carry it all through to a mainstream of the research or the product out of that research. It could be that the researcher will just end at R&D, and somebody else will come and license the invention and take it from there. So it can be how do you call it, a relay. And that's the whole concept. So that's something that I'm very passionate about, and that's something that we are pursuing. And where we are in this model, the ITC model is right now, we are at the protocol stage where we are working to develop protocols that will guide the Innovation Trust Corridor. And the Innovation Trust Corridor is framed like how the Africa Continental Free Trade Act or Free Trade Area is shaped, that we create similar framework, similar protocols that will enable the ease of movement, for example, of researchers within the Trust Corridor member states, to be able to easily move around to conduct their research and to pursue their innovation and research endeavors. Then the other question I wanted to bring to the fore on this forum is, nowadays, everybody's talking about research, innovation, commercialization. It's like everything should be money making. If it's not money, then what? So the question I pose to the audience or the listeners on this platform, on this forum is, should research always be from a commercialization perspective? Are we now doing it such that, or is our advocacy so loud that it might now supplant other forms of research? What my thought is this: research should always come from a good place, or let's say from a good heart. It can be commercial, and it can also afford not to be commercial. So that nobody is pressured, because I don't know, universities are pressuring their people. If you don't commercialize, one of your research should be commercialized. I don't think that should be the approach. I don't think anybody should be pressured to want to do research because you should make money. People should be able to research because it makes sense, because it brings new insight into how society is. It enables us to have a certain new paradigm to be able to lead our lives, but may not necessarily generate money. So that is my perspective, that we should allow people to either pursue commercial research from an academic perspective or non-commercial research, and it should be just fine. That is my belief. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, how do we build universities that deliver present value and serve tomorrow's purpose? Because I realize that if we're not careful, we go to conferences and we always come back and want to copy everything that we heard at the conference, because it's nice to see. But sometimes what is presented on the slide does not reflect what is a real thing on the ground. And for me, my position is, and I'm going to look into my position, I have a position on that there should be other approaches. Yes, you want to build an university that's entrepreneurial, you want to build an university that you are doing a lot of commercialization, but it should come from a certain perspective that is not based on just copying, right? What others are doing, or you heard something nice at a conference, or a very good speaker says something, and suddenly you come and you bastardize everybody in your institution just because maybe they didn't think about it first, or they've not been able to present it the way that somebody else at the conference has presented it. I like the idea of entrepreneurial university. I support it, and I believe that we need to cultivate that culture. So the question I ask is, this whole idea, is that who you are? And how does an entrepreneurial university look like? Now, most technology universities have their technology transfer offices facilitating the transformation of academic research into commercial product. Such universities also have entrepreneurship culture and mindset. The universities collaborate a lot with industry, and also the research is interdisciplinary. So I'm very in for research that inculcates all the disciplines. So both sociology, so if you want to productize any research, you shouldn't just come from just the science or the applied or the chemistry science or the physics science or all these technical sciences. No, you should look at it from also a sociocultural perspective or dimension as well. Such universities also provide the needed infrastructure, and the universities contextualize, and that's what I was speaking about before. They preserve and advance the best of their societies, traditions, and values, and not necessarily just copy and paste. Because what I'm seeing is that a lot of universities in Ghana are forgetting about who we are as people, who we are as a people, and they just pick, oh, we are just doing liberal arts. Everything is, even the examples are just Harvard examples, or examples that are set within the context of, let's say, Europe or America or Asia. We need to be able to present the same ideas, but within the valuable dimension, the dimensions that are viable for us within the context of our culture, our tradition, the good things about us, the things that we definitely have to preserve. Because if you check societies, even the most advanced societies have problems with the things that they've adopted that we find cool. And some of them would like to revert to some of our own ways of life, right? So whilst universities are trying to be entrepreneurial, are trying to commercialize, are trying to do all the nice things that look good, that may bring a lot of value to society, we need to also appreciate the whole idea of building to suit our context and refining that which we need to refine and advancing that which we believe is good. We need to be able to export that which is good within our cultures to other places, including when we go and do, we go and sit in other universities to do research. We shouldn't just copy whatever they are doing. We should also tell them what we are doing that is good and propagate our own traditions and heritage and best practices. The other question I asked is, how do we have society, university that answer tomorrow's questions today? So you're dealing with today's problems. At the same time, you're looking into the future. So one of the things I talk about or I see is vision. For me, vision is so important to me. As an entrepreneur, I believe that vision is what predetermines how your immediate society or how your company or how any enclavement that you find yourself in evolves. So for university to become more entrepreneurial, they need to anticipate. I know that sometimes, and I've dealt with professors, they're very conservative, they are very structured, and it's not anybody's fault because that's how the system works. Structure provides a very deterministic way of giving you an expected outcome, right? So for a university to be able to answer tomorrow's questions, you need to be able to anticipate. That means you need to take more risk. You need to allow certain things to happen to see how the world will evolve. So you need to be able to anticipate, think beyond the present, and be willing to shatter certain norms. We need to also design curriculum that integrates emerging technologies. And like I said, we need to do this within context. I don't think that just because we are dealing with AI or blockchain or new ideas or new technologies, then suddenly everything that we used to know is not good. We need to be able to build for tomorrow by advancing the good context that we have as well. I'm very keen on that. We need to the way we disseminate knowledge should be very flexible. Should offer different avenues for different kinds of people to enter. I know that currently the model is you have to pass your exam and then you come in there, and sometimes you are limited to the kind of course that you can choose based on your academic performance. Certain universities in Ghana don't do that right now, but majority of universities do that. You do things based on your performance. But I know people who did statistics and are now medical doctors. I know people who did general arts in St. Augustine's College where I attended and are now mechanical engineers in America. So we need to also now probably find other avenues to get people to do the kind of thing that fits their best strength or that revolves around their best interests or their informed capabilities. The other thing that I believe that universities can do is align their education with industry, both from solving industry's current problem and the other way around, industry supporting universities to take risks, to do research, because that's the other dimension. I'm hoping that industry players out here. Sometimes industry players complain, oh, the universities are not churning out the kind of students that we need. I take a different look at that. The question I ask myself is, as a business, how much are we giving back into academia to support the training of students that we may meet your need? Sometimes sometimes to even get internship for students to just come and utilize environment or to share in your culture or to even see the kind of tools that you use. It's a very tough one for the universities. So I believe that that model, that desire for industry to always want universities to come up with the best of students should be a two-way street. It should be a give and take. It should not be just academic institutions being pushed in the corner that, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. We, the industry players, should invest, give academic institutions money, provide them the resources, and also taking some of the students as interns, offer ourselves for become mentors, and go in there to give lectures without probably wanting anything back. And I believe that that could also go a long way to help universities respond to tomorrow's questions. And universities also answer tomorrow's questions, also look at it from a global perspective, and equip their students to tackle problems within a bigger context. And that means that your exchange programs, that means that the way that you present challenges to these students and how you push these students without necessarily pampering or without necessarily overly protecting them is very critical. So one of the key things I see is 3 key areas that we can anchor that entrepreneurial university in is 1, culture, 2, niche, and 3, what I call the X-helix model. So from a culture perspective, I believe that it can be consciously architected. And that means that 1, you have to document what kind of culture that you want to create in a university. It should be documented. And the people who document it, especially the leaders, should be seen to be key champions of the culture. That means they should be living the new norm. They should be the ones actually acting it out. They can't be seen to be signboards who just show the way, give direction, but they don't work with the people who they expect to absorb or imbibe that culture. And that culture should be built around vision, the values, and whatever expected outcome they want to see. So if a university want to see a university that is entrepreneurial, that is coming up with a lot of patent, and that's the vision, then you have to build a culture that enables that. The other thing I see is nation. Universities, I know, can do a lot of different things, but maybe one of the things that a university can look at is nation, answering certain questions like, where lies our strength? So you can niche from a basis of the university strength, where you think that you have the most resources, or you have the most intellect, or you have the most protocols or procedures or SOPs designed for. You can build your niche around that. You can partner with industry and people as well as institutions who have specific needs. So if you find yourself in a specific location where there's a need, you can build a university to solve that problem. You can niche around your community needs, what the country is needing, what industry needs as well. For me, that is something that I believe can help create entrepreneurial universities that solves the problems of our society today. Then I know that a lot of us know about the triple helix model, but I also think that we need to remove the 3 and put an X there, and X can be any number. So we need to look beyond government and industry and academia that is mostly fitted within the triple helix model, and then think about X. And X for me represents the future unknown entity or partner. So currently this is the triple helix model. I'm looking at it from an X perspective, and you can have industry, you can have the community that you find yourself in, you have government, you can have civil society, you can have X partner. The X partner can be a development partner or any future entity. So not limiting ourselves to just 3 key stakeholders in that commercialization value chain, but also exploring commercialization and the entrepreneuriality of a university from an X-dimensional perspective. So having said that, I have come to the end of my presentation, but these are the three key things that I want to leave you with. First, I believe in curiosity. You need to be able to ask questions. And there should not be a limitation to your quest to find answers to problems, including nothing to stop you from asking anybody, engaging the right people, spending your time researching, trying to find out and know things. And for me, that's what has helped me. The other thing is what you find as problems can be your future business opportunities. In your quest to find a solution to that problem that pertains to probably only you, it could be an academic problem, it could be your thesis problem, because Slide Pay or now Kari, as we see now, was the thesis project of Claude Hatchford. And that's what has become Kari today. So whatever you think can be a class. So for me, a lot of my class problems, my assignment, evolved me into the kind of personality that I became and prepared me to solve the problems that I meet now. So sometimes I may easily respond to things. I can speak so quickly about things without thinking. It comes at the top of my finger, at the tip of my fingers. But it's because I have been embedded in a system and mindset for a very long time, and some things have become second nature to me. And the other thing is, you don't want to work fast alone. You want to collaborate so you can work far. So having said that, I want to say a very big thank you, and I'll leave it to the chair and the moderator to let me know what the next steps are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deridine Dadzi. You're a good speaker.
Myron, thank you very much, CEO. That is quite impressive, insightful, and I've learned a lot from this. I think, Myron, Dr. Professor Edmond will coordinate the question time, isn't it?
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
So if you have a question, please, you can go ahead with it.
Yeah, Edmond, so take over, please.
Sure. So we'll take questions from our colleagues who are in here with us. And then we'll go around when we adjust questions from in here, we'll
is
go
it only me
online
who is
also.
not hearing him, or?
No, I think they are muted.
Yeah, all of us can not hear. Yeah.
Edmond, I think you are muted. Could you unmute
There's a
yourself?
question in here. Please, can we hear us?
Yes, we can now hear you, but
Okay.
Edmond, I'm not too sure if Edmond. Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear you.
we have a question now.
Thank you very much for your insightful presentation. I want to ask, what has been the role of politics or political influence in your entrepreneurship journey?
What do you mean by political influence? Do you mean political climate or political access?
I think both ways. I remember you made mention that you traveled and later on you came back to sort of head a particular group, which I thought was a political in nature. So I wanted to know, how did you get that role? And also, how has the political environment played a key role in your entrepreneurship journey?
Right. So the Ghana Chamber of Technology is not a political group. It's just startups that came together to form a group that can influence policy. So it's not linked to any political party. These are pure private businesses, just like the Ghana Chamber of Industry or Ghana, any association, traders association coming together to form a group. So that is that. So it's not political. Political environment can shape people's entrepreneurial endeavor because government is what stimulates, or the activities and initiatives and policies of government stimulate entrepreneurial endeavoring. So, and I have come from different dispensations. So my journey has seen Jacob for, which is the beginning of my journey, has seen Atta Mills. My journey has seen President Mahama. My journey has seen President Nana Akufo-Addo. And I think that for me, it's not been, politics has not played any major role. Has government environment played any key role? Because yes, enabling environment plays key role. For example, when we started Dreamable in 2007, there was a time that even as a startup, there was enough money was available by banks to be given to us. We had even not done a transaction. Certain banks were willing to give us funding. They were willing to find a way to give us money to do our work because there was a lot of money in the system, and that was in the 2007s, right? So obviously, political environment plays a role. The initiatives of government can play a role. So if government focuses on innovation commercialization and they put in place innovation support programs like tax incentives, like trying to build a GEC center, these are things that send good, for want of a better word, good vibes to the business community, and they're more willing to come and invest. So politics is critical. If I say politics is critical, I mean the actions of government is critical. Me on my journey, I've not taken any political position yet, or I've not taken a political position. I have not. My role on the chamber was lead a group of businessmen and businesses to help them deal with stakeholders in advancing policies that can shape the ecosystem. And I believe that I met that goal. Thank you. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yes, thanks. Okay. So we'll take the follow-up.
Thank you very much for the insights and the clarifications. I also wanted to know that I know that usually when policies are formed, it's with the hope that they will become laws that will have the legal backing to support a particular cause that we want to embark on. I want to know what has resulted from some of these policies that you have sort of championed. And also, I want to know what are some of the, maybe I should call it mistakes, in quotes, that perhaps you have made in this journey that you wish to share with us so that as young researchers, we will learn from it and we wouldn't make the same mistakes. Thank you.
Right. So thank you very much. So some of the things that have come out from some of the works that I've done that are evidence is, for example, now in the payment ecosystem, the payment guidelines is active. That's what is used by everybody, including the big telcos, including all the fintech ecosystem. That is one of the initiatives that I led. Also, if you look at the blueprint, there's a concept. If you go deep in the blueprint, there's a concept of national digital architecture. That is something that is in motion. There is work that I've done that I didn't present here that looked at what we call digital economy studies, that is looking at finding out what are the needs of different sectors of the economy in relation to digitalization to enable the development of digital initiatives that really have impact in our societies. And that is part of what is influencing a program called GDAP. And then we have the Cashlight roadmap and other financial inclusion policies that have helped either in implementation or in the drafting. That you are seeing the manifestations of our current digital payment environment, where now we have a lot of Momo going on, we have a lot of digital payment, online payment, e-commerce going on. These are some of the outcomes of some of the work that I have done together with other experts and stakeholders. Now, when it comes to mistakes I have made, I've made a lot of mistakes. Can I pinpoint any of them? I think it's a journey, and the nature of an entrepreneur is you typically don't keep record of some of these things because you want to forget quickly and move on fast. And sometimes the mistakes can come from Either you didn't prepare well for something that you are doing, so you made that will cost you money, so you built a solution that didn't meet the client's needs because of an approach that you took and that cost you money. Sometimes you didn't put in place the right processes in your company, so that will result in certain risk or certain liabilities that you could have avoided. Sometimes you can fire a human being from your company and then later realize that that was a very big mistake that you did. Or sometimes you can keep people in the team and realize that was a big mistake. So that on my journey, there are many mistakes that you make. Sometimes you make a decision, you work with certain partners and realize that you went in for the wrong reasons, or you didn't probably think through it well enough before you enter that partnership. You can actually sign a partnership agreement or a contract and realize you made a big mistake because of the kind of terms that you accepted. So as an entrepreneur on my journey, these are some of the mistakes I've made, and there are several of them. Yeah. Or it's not that you are driving in traffic to a meeting, you are late, and instead of like obeying the Google map, you decide to take a different turn, and now you're stuck in traffic and you're late and you lose the bait. So these are mistakes that we make. They come from the simple things, they come from decisions that you make, it comes from the relationship that you keep, it comes from different dimensions. So they come in both small and big sizes. And they manifest, the impact are different. But the key thing is you need to be able to move on quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Derry Dean. We have another question.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. I was keeping notes. I've really learned a lot here. I would want to find out, we are academicians. How do we transition from research into entrepreneurship? And my second question would be that how do we work not alone, collaborate to work far, but how do we protect our intellectual properties as well as we collaborate with others? Thank you.
Right. So transitioning research or innovation from labs to the market, that's how we call it. I think one of the key things is you need to be able to let people know what you have done. So there should be visibility of your work. Because sometimes the entrepreneurial idea can come from somebody who sees your work differently from what you see. So that for me is the first part. There should be visibility of your work. Two, you should be open-minded as a researcher, because sometimes academicians sometimes have a God mind when it comes to intellect because of the reading that you've done. So maybe you may think that you know more than somebody. So open-mindedness is very important because, like for me, for example, I'm not an academician, but I work with professors. Sometimes I become the principal investigator, even though they have the PhD, I don't have one. And because they have open-mindedness. So that means that we're able to collaborate flexibly to be able to advance commercial ideas. And they bring in the power and the intellect and all the skills that they have, technical skills, academic, any skill they have to enable us advance. So being open-minded is very, very critical. And collaboration. Working with institutions like us, like Heritage Labs. If you talk to us and you have a great idea, we can find ways and means to either bring on board the needed resources, bring on board the needed tools that we have. For example, we've developed a toolkit called the IMBCM Canvas. I can share with here in UST. That enables you to track and figure out from the onset how you can commercialize the research that you are doing. It lets you answer certain questions. We have a workbook that when you answer certain questions, you can actually know where the entrepreneurial activities are within the research that you have done. So collaboration is key. Following certain toolkits can also help you. Working with industry players or partnering with industries can also be a very good factor. And having a commercialization mindset from the onset in drafting your research problem or your research proposal can be critical. Now, protecting your IP is something that you can work with a technical expert on because there are technical people who can work with you, like legal people who are skilled in the IP area, and they can help you. But if you work within an institution, institutions should document. For me, I believe in template. I believe in documenting what has to be done. Even if you don't have the skill set in certain technical areas, the fact that you have an idea to document a certain idea or an ideal enables you know what kind of skills or capacity that you need to be able to let that documentation or let that process that you want to put on paper, enables you know what kind of skills that you need to make it happen. Or so for me, documenting something like how Kenya University protects IP is key, and building templates that can be used by anybody. So you present those ideas or those policies in the template so that the actionable part can be utilized by anybody. For me, it's a very critical thing. So the technology transfer office at KNUST should necessarily have templates that any professor, any lecturer, any innovator can actually use, or that can serve as a guide from the onset of their research to the point where they get collaborators to move to market. So these are the different thought processes I have regarding your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deridine. Would go online and take some comments and questions from there as well. And then we'll come back in here.
Thank you, Prof. So we have Edwin online. He's asking how he can build a career in public health and food security. I think with regards to being innovative and finding solutions for the problems in these spaces.
Right. So this part, I believe that the professors are there. But in terms of career, if you want to build want to build a career in public health and food security, I believe that is an area of, and I might be mistaken, but my first thought is it's an area of conformity assessment, standardization, food safety. So that's one area that you can build expertise in and build consultancy that can work closely with FDA to support institutions that are in the field of food innovation or that are in the field of producing food. So advising them, helping them with processes of ensuring that their food meets certain standards, for me, is a first step. Two, another area to build easy career is becoming a thought leader so that you can present your ideas and you'll be remunerated for it. So if you want to be anybody, then you need to find time learning and reading about that subject and finding yourself in spaces where that subject has present problems that your new expertise and your readings can provide you insight to solve that problem. So that's another area. So you can do training as well. You can acquire knowledge in that field and start being a thought leader in that field and start presenting ideas in that field that can help people. Then people can pay you for that. And then that can be one area that you can build career in. I don't know what you do. If you use social media a lot, you need to post a lot about that field. So you have to post a lot about public health. You have to inquire more about public health. You need to write articles on public health. You need to write articles on food security, because food security can come from different perspectives. Even from scarcity, it's a food security problem. From the hygiene, it's a food security problem. So these are areas where, so partnering with, knowing what the regulators do and building a niche around there, having knowledge about the subject and building capacity around it to be able to transfer that knowledge, being a thought leader in that field and being an advocate are areas where you can build a career. And some areas you can be paid to speak, you can be paid to teach, you can be paid to help with the process. And you can be paid to bring out models and policies. So these are areas, these are things that you can do to build a career in food security and public health. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from Dr. Lena Jifamensa. She says that often when you listen to entrepreneurs like yourself, you realize that the current business they are operating is their fourth or fifth. Your business was successful, your first, and growing. Why did you leave to start another one? And what advice have you got for young entrepreneurs who think you have to make it by all means with your first attempt?
Right. So entrepreneurship sometimes is a personality, yeah? Some of us like to just solve different kinds of problems. And if you check globally, let's pick someone like Elon Musk. He was successful with PayPal. He's successful with, now he's doing the SpaceX, successful with it. He's successful with Tesla. He's successful with his solar company. He's successful with his internet company. So I think it's sometimes a quest to solve problems. So why did I leave my first business? I think that it was time for me to grow. That was the first part. And also take time off to see what else can be solved. So I am on a quest to create a society that I believe should work for everybody and should work for people. So leaving my first business also, and let me also give you another dimension of business. Business is easy to build from the scratch up to people with vision or visionary, people who are very creative and they can think big within the business perspective. They can envision and do not necessarily have the operational desires, right? Are very good at building business from the scratch. They are personable, they know how to relate, they know how to think, they know how to solve problems. But it gets a certain stage, you need also somebody who is very pedantic and very operational driven to now sustain the ship. So sometimes a business will start in the beginning, needs different dimensions to grow. So visionaries bring growth. They know how to mobilize resources, they know how to speak to people, they know how to entice a team, encourage a team to build. The business will go well. But as the business grows, you have a lot more compliance requirement, operational requirement. Now the business becomes like any other business. It gets to that time, you need somebody else to run it. That's my opinion. And I think that I know myself. I know when it is time to go, and that's what happened at my other business. And then the person who came to run it, that's my co-founder Claude. He's very operational. Claude is somebody who can look into Excel sheet like thousands of cells, and then he has time to look at it. I can do that, but I will look at it from a different perspective, and I'll still find my solutions or whatever I'm looking out for. But he, for me, was better fit at a certain stage in the business as well. So these are different things that will come up for a decision to be made. Sometimes the decisions are just feelings. You just feel that you want to solve something else. Because I guess at a certain stage in the business as well, they become so traditional that you start signing documents, you're signing checks, approvals. That internal desire, that itchy fingers to always find yourself rolling your fingers and find yourself in the deep, digging deep and solving new problems, sometimes become a yearning. And when it gets to that point, you might want to either start a new company or leave your new space and find somebody to do it. Another reason, and this is just general thought. It also gets a time that you are so good at what you do that you build something good, you just leave it and then go and build something else because you are young, you have energy, you have good ideas, you have the relationships. So if you check a lot of entrepreneurs in Ghana, they have multiple businesses because they have the people, you have the energy, you have the resources, you have the friends, you have the relations, you understand better how to make money. So sometimes you stop and you try and do something new to make money. So these are the dimension. And for young entrepreneurs who are coming up, you need to be patient. I know that there are a lot of mantras. Don't live your life on mantras like you only live once. You know, like there are a lot of all these taglines that we use to not give us the patience. We need to be careful how we perceive life. I think that we need to have, so in order not to want to make it so quick, because I had that mindset from scratch, that I know that to take time. I need that to take a long time. I feel sometimes my journey came faster than even I thought. In terms of where I reached was faster. Other people were late. Other people went. Me, I was in my 30s and I had seen a lot. Other people will have to get to 50 before they see what I saw. So that you have to internally process that it takes time, so that when hard times are coming, you don't give up. Because if you feel that it's going to be too quick and you face a small glitch, you easily give up. So psych your mind to know that it's a journey. You have to have patience. You also have to know which industry you are in, because certain industries can generate income very fast. Certain industries take time. So having the mindset that it takes time is also very important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from someone anonymous. And the question is, do you think Ghana at this current state is viable to support technological entrepreneurship, because the person thinks most people in tech industry are not motivated along, but they prefer to travel abroad for development.
Right. So because now the world has evolved, and now space to solve, like being at a place to solve problem is not a limitation on where you can solve your problems, or which area in life or which place in life can benefit from your problem, then I can say that Ghana is a good place to start a business or to do business. Because compared to when we started or when I started with my team, internet was a big problem back in the day. The cost of internet at the time we're paying in dollars, right? We couldn't afford it. Now that is spite. You have access to internet. You can even hotspot from your phone. Back in the day, you cannot hotspot from your phone. So the limitations are lower. We have a lot more people who have the skills. Back in the day, we had very few people who had the skills. Unfortunately, yes, now because we have Ghanaians, devs, and other tech people are very exposed, they are also attracting suitors from outside Ghana. So that's a challenge there. But we are building new. I'm sure that new talents are going to pass through. But we still have that talent base to be able to support tech companies. So I still think that Ghana is a place that you can start a business and solve problems to the world. You can also start your business here and solve local problems, because we have a lot of problems, right? We have big problems. And it depends on how much money you want to make. I think sometimes too, we watch a lot of videos and watch a lot of documentaries of all these billionaires and unicorns. But I'm not saying that you don't have to be a unicorn, but what they have is not what you need. You will be able to solve problems and live a very good life, go on vacation and stuff like that, but you might not be a billionaire. So also the mindset should also be good. So if you want to solve problems for our society, that myriad of problems around, thousands of problems around that you can solve in different value chains and different sectors. And remember that when you solve a problem in Ghana, it can be replicated in other countries by adapting it to their unique challenges as well. So for me, even take away any government, Ghana is a very good place to start a business.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Okay. We lost you at a point. Hello, are you done, Mr. Dadzi?
Yeah, I'm done with my
Okay, so we'll take the last but not the least, which is from Lovelace Accra. And her question is, what would be your advice to a young professional who has identified a gap in the policy regulation in their industry? Would writing of a thesis while pursuing an MBA, for example, on that area and presenting it directly to the regulator be a good thing to do?
Right. So regulators are human beings like us. People who run institutions are human beings like us. So sometimes we just need to know how to approach them. Building relationships are good, and I'm just trying to build from the perspective of relationships. Because one of the key things of change is having the ears of the person who drives the change. So if you find that there's a policy document that is not working out for you, there are different approaches that you can take to drum home that, to get people alerted on that specific policy item and potentially cause them to have a change. So one, you need to know how to build a relationship to present, to be able to get to the right person who can cause that change for you. You also need to learn how to deal with, present your idea, present the reason why you believe there's a fault line in that policy statement or in that policy initiative. Because sometimes one of the challenges of our current people is when they see something they don't like, they come from a very adversarial angle. And when you go adversarial, note that if you don't have the wherewithal in terms of resources, in terms of support from other people, it becomes very difficult to get change done. If you also want to be able to influence policy, then you need to be able to be positioned as somebody who is known as that expert in that space. So over a period, you need to be able to position yourself. And I believe that some of the things that we can do is people should know us for something or some things. So if fintech is your area and you do a lot of papers in that area, sometimes when you speak, people will listen because people would have seen you as an authority in that area based on presentation that you have done, based on papers that you've written, based on what you normally post on your social media, and based on predictions that you've made that have come to pass. So young scholars should also position themselves to be known or to be attributed with certain things of society. So when they speak, they listen. The other thing is you need to have time to be able to mobilize your people or people who have similar problems like you. So hit people in their emails, call people, go at conferences, talk to people, be in certain particular areas to be able to influence policy. So if you're at a conference for a specific policy agenda and you're able to have a chance to lay your point across, it will resonate and that could inform a policy change. So that's another thing that we need to do. So when we find ourselves in areas of conversations or convenings, we need to be able to bring to the fore our insights on specific subjects. So that's another area that I think that we should, we can look at. Writing a master's or thesis on a PhD or a master's can also be a good avenue because then whoever is receiving that policy advice will know that it's coming from a place of insight and research, right? So there are different ways to tackle policy change. And I've mentioned a number of them, but keenly build relationship, learn how to relate to people because you need to be able to meet them, engage them for you to be able to verbalize what you are thinking or for them to be able to take you seriously or read your email or something that can influence a policy action. And then present yourself for conferences. When they are looking for abstracts and papers, don't sit back, write and get in there so that you can also make your voice known. So that things that matter to you, you can bring them to the limelight and then people can galvanize around it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all the time you spent answering our questions and the depth with which you have gone in getting our questions answered. I hand over to Prof. Ikuaji to continue.
Thank you, Prof. Mann. Thank you also, Deridine. You are very exciting to listen to. Next up, we would have Chairman's closing remarks. But before we do that, let me ask one question of my own. So, Deridine, this for you.
Right.
You had indicated that a lot of what you've done has been inspired by or has been driven by research and that inquiry mind. And in your story at the beginning, you also highlight, you gave us those scenarios, your calculus assignments and all.
Right.
Let me ask, how much of the work you've done and the impact of research, how much of that is attributable to your personal drive or interest, and how much of that is due to the interest that was nurtured in you by reason of the assignments you did?
Right.
I'm asking because I am a lecturer, and if I'm unable to be entrepreneur, I should be able to inspire the next generation. And I liked how you came to it from questions.
Right. Thank you very much. And a lot of me probably is my environment as well. So my environment, how I grew up, tardy boy, top 10, like grandmother, mother, like they instill a certain personality inside you. So I think a lot of me is also it's based on my environment. And I don't know, I also think a lot of me is divine. Whatever happened, maybe I fell down somewhere and then my head hit the ground and suddenly I realized that I should be asking more questions, but I can't pinpoint specific things, but I know that naturally I have a personal drive to resolve problems. I have a certain penchant to think beyond my lifetime, right? And I also have no fear. I fear God a lot, but nothing deters me in the pursuit of what I believe would augur well for the society in a reasonable manner, not unreasonably. So all those things like are part of the buffet of different things that shape the way I do things. So let's say in our first class, they give us an assignment and I say, guys, let's go out and talk to the people. Some people will disagree, but you should be able to persuade them to do it. Now, if they don't do it, you should be able to go on your own, especially if you going on your own one will not be detrimental to the team, will not break the team timings, and you can do things in time to bring back value to the team. Because sometimes you need to be able to set example for the team to see value because everybody's come from a different perspective. So that is that. So I believe that my personality itself, because there are certain things about me that I did in high school as well. My personality itself was a contributing factor. I believe maybe my nurturing, I took decisions on my own at a very young age. My mom allowed me to take decisions. My grandmother allowed me to take decisions. So all those things, there was no inhibition. There were no unrealistic protections, right? So I was launched into the deep quite early to take certain days, like walk to school by yourself when you're like 7 years old, 6 years old, you're walking to school, you meet people, you're solving problems on the street. So all these things for me, I think, shaped me. I was lucky to be born in an era between so for me, I was lucky to be born in an era, and I think my environment, my family, my home, all shaped me to what I became, especially my person. So in terms of how much of that, I think my personality drove a lot of my endeavorings, even in academic life. And that drives my endeavoring in my business life. So it's really my personality as well. So my temperament also is a factor. There's a large aspect of me that is an extrovert. And I think that, and I have a very nice introverted version that enables me to become a lot more reflective and know my limitations. So all those, knowing yourself also matters a lot as well. So Prof, I think that, yes, I'm hoping that you can inspire your student. I've lectured before in 1 year, and I know how tough it is. Yeah, I know how tough it is. But yeah, I believe that it's possible. And you can always invite me as well. I can take some, if I say take, maybe I can come online and talk to your student as well, or come to tech and then come and do physical engagement with the student as well.
Great. I'll take you up on that, Apsu.
Yeah.
All right. So we go to Philip Nchieje for his remarks. Right after that, what? Ponsa.
Edmond, am I
yes,
okay
it's
to go now?
Yeah, good to go.
Your microphone is sometime muted. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Daisy. I'm sure we will come to you to see. We know our pays are not too good, but maybe you have to come and help us, as you said. But I think it's been a very insightful, by all standards, presentation. You walk us through your journey as an entrepreneur, starting with the Dean's program in calculus 1 and calculus 2, and then how this tend to be the foundation of the many things that you've done. But I'm also trying to learn that most of your early recruits were from KNUST, and we pray that you continue to find our students quite engaging and useful for your company. A number of things that I learned from your presentation: right attitude is key. Right attitude towards whatever it is that you are doing. Our research to try and solve industrial relevant challenges. I mean, sometimes many of us, we just going into research for research sake. We want to get our 4 papers, 8 papers, 12 papers, 15 papers to move to the next stage in our promotion, in our career through promotion. And we don't look at how relevant that research is in terms of driving change, driving innovations in the real world. And we need to have a rethink about how we approach this. But one of the things that touched me most was the fact that you said research is relevant. You've done a lot of surveys, a lot of research to understand the need of the market, what is needed, and how to address those things. In all this faith, you mentioned that faith, you kept reflecting, and there was a time that you said you had to go to the US, spend some time to reflect on what to do next. So I think that faith is quite crucial, but we need to begin to think about commercialization of our research. We can't just produce research for promotion, but we need to think about how do we turn the end products of our research into some kind of end products that we can have some kind of money from it. Investment in our GDP, investment by our government is crucial. We need to also have commercialization thinking when we are doing research, because that will be able to help us to unlock funding opportunities. You walk us through how we can move from innovation from the lab into the market by bringing in the various knowledge brokers and not being master of all trades. Commercialization is crucial. Knowledge dissemination should be flexible. And one of the things that you said, I think that we need to reflect on as a university is the fact that we should sometimes allow people to do what they think they love to do, not necessarily the results that they are coming from SHS with. I have also seen people who have done art businesses and now doing engineering, doing medicine and the rest. And I think this is something as a university that we need to reflect and see how do we do this. It's not only Care University, but the other public universities that we sometimes tend to be too straight in terms of what we want students to do. But I think it's a conversation that we can have with management, and we are happy that some of these things have been raised through your presentation. For me, the conclusion you mentioned for 3 things that I think we all need to think about. That we need to be curious, we need to have an inquisitive mind, we need to dig deeper into what is happening. And the kind of challenges that are confronting us today may be the opportunities that could turn our fortunes around. And we need to see them as such. Then you ended by saying that we should not work alone. I like that we should collaborate, but when you say don't work fast alone, you are reminding me of Liverpool fans, and I'm not a Liverpool fan, but that is fine. We shouldn't work alone. I've always said that our cultural upbringing sometimes do not help us. When you go to elementary school, SHS, when you are writing exams from P1, you try to prevent the person sitting next to you to see your work, so you cover your work. You don't want anybody to see what you are writing. You cover your work. And we grow up with this attitude to SHS, to university, and when we are even working. We don't want people to see what we are doing. Sometimes you have colleagues in the department, when you see them coming, whatever it is that you have on your laptop, you close it, because you don't want people to see what you are doing. We need to open up. We need to collaborate. We cannot solve the world problems with our own thinking. We need to get people to work together. And that is important even more so when you come to doing research. If you want to do impactful research that will address some of the most challenging societal challenges that we need to address. So I want to, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rita Akosia Dixon, who couldn't make it for today's program, I've taken notes of some of the things that you've said. I'll share with her. And on her behalf, I want to thank you for making time to come and do this presentation. I am sure at some point you may have to come and do a course here so that you can become an alumnus here. Whether masters, another masters or PhD, our doors are open for you. Computer engineering is here, computer science itself is here, and many other areas that you may find interesting. Because you need to be a KNUST alumnus. I tell you, the way you are talking, you seem to be a KNUST alumnus in these guys. On that note, and on behalf of the Young Researchers Forum, I say thank you and God richly bless you. For those who join us from online, I'm sure there's somebody who may give the vote of thanks, but on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I say thank you and God richly bless us all.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together. Abigail, it's your turn. Philip almost did your job.
Yes. I actually wanted to say thank him very much for doing part of my job. So I'm grateful to the organizers for inviting me to do this. And we want to thank the Almighty God for granting us today to witness this beautiful occasion. I have learned a lot, and I believe that we have all done so. Our heartfelt gratitude also goes to Professor Philip J, who is the Director of the Office of Grants and Research, who on this occasion is also representing the Vice Chancellor of KNUST. We are grateful to you for chairing this occasion and for the insights that you shared with us, reminding us of the importance of platforms like this and also the insights that you took from the session. We are also grateful to our guest speaker and resource person, Mr. Deridine Dazi, who is the CEO of Heritage Lab Limited. We are grateful for the valuable insights that you shared with us, especially on research entrepreneurship and the pursuit of innovation markets and value chains. Your presentation was not only enlightening, but also inspirational, as it reminded us of the vast possibilities that lie ahead. We believe that from today we are going to collaborate more and make sure that we commercialize our research and also, most importantly, do research from a good place. Our gratitude also goes to the provosts, deans, directors, heads of departments, and also their representatives for taking time off their busy schedules to be with us today. In person, I can see Professor Moses Monday Omini. Thank you very much for being here. We are also grateful to Professor Marian Nkansa and also the entire leadership and committee of the Young Researchers Forum for organizing such important events. They are very, very useful, and I believe that this platform will go a long way in shaping the future of young researchers. We are also grateful to our moderator, Professor Edmond Ekwazi, for a remarkable job that he did. He ensured that the dialogues remained engaging and also very, very productive. So, Prof, thank you for a good job done. Gratitude also to Professor Mrs. Mavis Enti-Osei for her kind introduction of our guest speaker. We are also very, very grateful to our IT team. They've been with us throughout the entire session, and we are very grateful for their support. We cannot leave here without thanking our audience, both in person and also online, for being with us and also your insightful questions and comments that you give. It really helped in making this a very remarkable one. And also to our future participants who will be joining or watching later on YouTube and other platforms. We also want to thank them in advance, and all those who supported, both visible and invisible, those whose names were mentioned and those whose names have not been mentioned. Hannah, I see you. Thank you for doing a good job. And to all members, want to say thank you very much for coming and for participating. We hope that it will not just be another webinar or seminar, and that will take the insights to make sure that we improve upon ourselves, our societies, and even the nations that we live in, so that together we will make the world a better place. And as we remember that Ghana needs this badly, and so let's go home with this in mind to make the world better than we all came to meet it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last thing on our program is the closing prayer, and that'll be done by Reverend Joseph Ichampon. He's our Protestant chaplain, KNUST. He will do this. He's joining us online. So, Reverend Ichampon, if you are ready.
Thank you very much. Please let us pray. Our Lord and our Master, we praise and bless your name for today. We thank you for the gift that you continue to give to us. Bless your name, O God, for making it possible for this program to take place. We thank you for the organizers as well as all the facilitators, the wisdom and the various insights that they have shared with us. We pray, O God, that you enable all of us to put all that we have learned today into practice so that our researches will be relevant and help promote the good of humanity to the glory of your name. We pray that this forum will continue to do exploits, to enhance research, to make it more engaging and more useful and relevant, and also to help make life better. We thank and bless you for hearing our prayers, for we have asked for this and many more blessings through Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Amen, Reverend.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. And sadly, we are at the end of RSD 3. Yeah. But we hope that you've been inspired and that we'll meet next year for RSD 4. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you. He's ended. Oh, I know, Mama Kasasa.
'Cause I can't